Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Football Palestine Extra, where we sum up everything that's happened this week in Palestinian football. First of all, and always, a big thank you to the premium subscribers who make this content possible. You guys get to see these videos in its entirety. You can also access them on Spotify if you just want to listen to them on your commute. That's also available to everybody else that's just a regular subscriber. You get to see a portion of this video. So if you like what you see and you like what you hear here, consider upgrading to a premium subscription. Helps me keep the lights on, as they say. We got a couple things to talk about this week. With every passing day, we get closer and closer to that crunch match against Libya. And we have an official kickoff time. We have an official date as well. So we'll get into that. We have to talk about injuries because, we're only a week removed from the international break. And the story about the international break was how many absences there were in the team. So we'll look at whether or not that's going to get any better going forward. And finally, we have to talk about the upcoming matches in November for the national team, which will be in Spain, pair of friendlies, one against Basque Country, Euskadi, as they're known in the Basque language, and the other against Catalunya, at two historic stadiums, San Mamés, which is the cathedral of Spanish football, and Basque football in particular, and the other one at Montjuic, which was the main stadium, the main outdoor stadium at the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. So looking forward to that. So let's talk a little bit about those games and what we can expect and whether or not this is actually good preparation to face Libya just after the international break. So if you are kind of wondering when are these games happening, how can we see them, what's going on in November when the next international break rolls around, let me explain to you exactly what the schedule looks like. So November 15th is the game in San Mamés against Euskadi. They actually announced that tickets will go on sale tomorrow. So we're recording Wednesday, October 22nd. They will go on sale October 23rd vis-a-vis the official football federation of Euskadi, the official Basque Football Federation. The tickets are between 20 and 31 euros. All proceeds go to Gaza. Honestly, guys, if I were in your shoes, if I'm listening to this and, want to see the national team play, I would consider making this a little vacation. Go to Spain and see the team in Bilbao on the 15th, travel to Catalunya, see them 3 days later on the 18th. That's like the tail end of the international break. And then go see your favorite La Liga team on the weekend and then fly back home. I think it would be a fantastic trip. You don't need to thank me for planning your next vacation, but I think it would be a fantastic trip for anyone interested in football, interested in the national team, and living in Europe. So definitely consider doing that. I myself will be on the ground for both those games in Spain. The particular issue here is that there is the important game, the competitive game, the Arab Cup play-in against Libya that will be played 1 week after the game against Catalonia. So we play Catalonia on the 18th. No kickoff time has been announced as of yet. That game against Euskadi will kick off November 15th at 8:30 p.m. Still waiting on a kickoff time for the game against Catalonia. 1 week after, we will be in Qatar for the Arab Cup play-in game. It's a one-off game on November 25th. Kickoff 7 p.m. local, and we will play that on the grounds of El Kharafa Stadium. So a smaller, more historic stadium, if you can call it that, an older stadium for sure. Fewer seats in capacity, but a ground that will be familiar to the likes of the players that are playing in the QSL and will be very familiar to the likes of Yasser Hamad, who is on the books and has been on the books of El Kharafa for the past year or so. Let's break down these friendlies and whether or not they're going to be a good test for Palestine going forward. I think they're a bit of a question mark, to be honest with you. In general, if we look at how Palestine has prepared, from last month to last week, this month, October, to next month, I think it's a good selection of friendlies that we got because we have tested ourselves against teams with different styles. We had the I guess you can call them the Malaysian national team, kind of the Malaysian national team plus, with all those Brazilian players that turned out to be ineligible. Still waiting to get that, those ranking points back. FIFA ranking came out yesterday. Palestine up one spot, but down one spot in Asian continental ranking. So they're now 16th in Asia, 98th overall. Should they get those points back, they'll actually spring back into 15th place and will be closing on China, I believe, which is in 14th place at the time of recording. But that aside, I think it was good to get that because Malaysia plays in a particular way, high pressing, overloads on the flanks, and we struggle. Let's just put it out there. Let's be honest. It was not pretty, but we diagnosed that problem, and we know that going forward, we're going to have a plan to, if anyone presses us, to play around that press. Last month, I think was, or this month rather, October, the beginning part of October, I think was super useful for us because if you look at the team we played, not a lot of people are going to laud them. A lot of people are going to dismiss them as a B team. And yes, technically, Algeria's first choice team was playing World Cup qualifiers and sealing the deal on their 5th ever World Cup appearance. But compare that team to the team we'll face in November in Libya. And you have a team that, quite frankly, take away the 12 foreign-based players, just on the local-based players, is better than Libya. And we have a metric to go and judge that and actually back up what I'm saying, which is, look how they do in the Chan. Algeria was undefeated in Chan. Libya, I don't believe they even qualified for the last edition. So if we're just looking at Algerian league players and Libyan league players, the locals, Algeria is a cut above. Now, Morocco is better than both of them, and they have the trophies to prove that, but Algeria has a certain standard. And what Majid Bouguerra did was he bought in all this foreign talent that I guess he's thinking will be able to be selected for the Arab Cup, which falls outside of FIFA days. Now, keep in mind, Algeria is already qualified, and the tournament runs from the 1st of December to, I believe the finals on the 19th. Not a FIFA date. It is the FIFA Arab Cup, but you cannot get players released for that tournament. And, Majid Bouguerra has come back into the job he had left briefly. He wants to retain his title. And so he took these friendlies seriously, and he bought players with the eye to getting them prepared for competitive matches in December. Look, our mistakes were laid bare again in that first friendly. I think it was very important to get a result in the second friendly. And we did that, and we corrected a lot of our mistakes. We're opportunistic in front of goal, at least more opportunistic than the Algerians, and we won 1-0. So I do think it's good preparation, and I do think the quality of the side is better than the quality of the side that we will face in Libya in late November. Now, that doesn't mean anything. It's not a guarantee of future, past performance is not a guarantee of future results, as they say in investing. This is the same thing. It doesn't mean that we will have an easy time against Libya. I'm still trying to figure out what this team is exactly. There are positive signs for the Libyan national team. There are negative signs for the Libyan national team. And that's why we have to kind of hope that A, the team is prepared, B, the players are informed, and C, that your match winners step up. Because this could be the type of ugly game where one player with just a little bit of extra quality makes all the difference. And so with that, let's look at who will face in Euskadi and in Catalunya. And I actually think between these two games, that first game against Basque Country, against Euskadi, is going to be the more difficult one because that friendly was in the works for a very, very long time, which means the Football Federation in Basque Country had been working on, okay, here's the group of players we're going to get our manager to play this game. Now, keep in mind, Euskadi is not recognized by FIFA. They don't play in any official competitions. But when they play, if you look at the results, they play against real national teams, and they get results against national teams that go to the World Cup. The same goes for Catalunya. The only difference is that friendly against Catalunya seems to be organized kind of in a last-minute fashion. So if we're going to anticipate what's going to be tougher, I do think the match against Euskadi is going to be tougher, just because it seems like the Federation had time to plan, and they know who their squad is going to be. For the Catalunya friendly, they said, yeah, we really wanted to make this happen, but we don't know because clubs can't release players or aren't obliged to release players because we're not a officially recognized national team. But we want to make sure that we can get a team together. Now, Catalunya has also been like Basque Country, wherein they play strong national teams and get results against strong national teams. And you name a famous Catalan player who's represented Spain, he's probably also represented Catalunya. And I can just name a couple off the top of my head: Gerard Piqué, Carles Puyol, Cesc Fabregas. I think Pedro's also played for them. So if you keep going, like, just down the list of famous Catalan players, they've all played for Catalonia. They all have a couple of caps for Catalonia. They all like playing for their region. So I still think there'll be a certain amount of quality to it, no matter whom they get, because the quality of footballer and football in Spain is just so high that you are going to get a team of a certain amount of quality that will keep the ball, that will make you work, but you're not going to get this actual coherent team that's played with each other. So we should be able to hit that friendly with some momentum. Hopefully you go and you do positive things against Basque Country, get a result. You go into Catalonia and say, okay, this is like the last tune-up. We're going to give our starters, a cameo. We're going to give the other players a chance as well. We're going to get out of here with a result, with no injuries, and then we're going to fly to Qatar the next day. 1 week total focus and preparation to beat Libya and go to the Arab Cup finals. That's how it should work. It may not work exactly like that. Again, the results are not going to be all that important. We're not really judging the coaching staff on results. We do sort of point out the concerns, and there have been concerns. The Malaysia performance was a concern. The first Libya game was a big concern. Some of those concerns have been alleviated by the performance in the second game. And the question is, can they actually put together a window where it's all positive? Because right now the coaching staff has sort of had a mixed bag. They took over in March. First game wasn't good. They lost against Jordan. Second game, they beat Iraq. Mixed bag. June window, near perfection in that you almost get 2 wins from 2 games. But that doesn't happen, right? You beat Kuwait. It was scrappy. You got the result. That's fine. Second game against Oman, everything was there to get that result, and it got thrown away in the last 30 seconds. Yes, refereeing error, but at the same time, we also have to kind of look at the circumstances that led to that. We had a man advantage for 15 minutes, and quite simply, we didn't take our chances to make it 2-0. And on top of that, I thought we gave them too much of the ball. We retreated way too early when we should have been trying to get the second goal and kill the game. September, the Malaysia friendly rolls around. It was not a good performance. October, again, mixed bag in that first game was horrible. Second game was better. We got the result in the second game. So November, you want, even if the result isn't there, right? Let's say they play against Basque Country and they play well, but they lose 2-1 or something like that. That's fine, but you played well, right? You'll take the loss, whatever. It's a friendly. It doesn't really matter in the larger scheme of things. And again, the 2 Algeria friendlies, the friendly against Catalonia, the friendly against Basque Country, all don't even count towards FIFA rankings. So it's literally a free hit. You do what you want, as long as the team is prepared. But results do matter. And like I said in last week's video, I thought getting a result was important to kind of forget about the first match. And it was also important to be able to defend a 1-0 lead while maybe not playing your best football. You also have to consider that some of the players that were on the pitch were also on the pitch for that game against Oman. So you want Brahmi Hamad and you want Ahmed Taha, and who else was on the pitch at that time? Whomever it was that was still on the pitch at that time, you want them to be able to forget about it a little bit, right? I think Ahmed Hamdan was also on the pitch at that time. Whomever it was, you want them to forget a little bit about what happened in the final seconds of that Oman game by being able to defend a 1-0 lead. It wasn't pretty. There were mistakes. If Algeria was, a little bit better in front of goal, I think they would have equalized. But that doesn't matter. You got the result, and now you can correct everything behind the scenes and be prepared for the games that come up in November. In general, I think this is, a good preparatory phase for the match that matters. which is against Libya. Speaking of which, on to the second topic I want to talk about, which is what is this Libya side, and perhaps what we'll look to do in the lead up to the game against Libya is